how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7, back again out and about. Just finished graft on the way back home, and yeah, long weekend off. That's great. However, not so great. We've got Liverpool next away, and of course it's been Eddie Howe's press conference today. Looking forward, if looking forward is the word, to New Year's Day's match-up against Liverpool at Anfield. It happens to be Salah's last game before he goes off to the African Cup of Nations. Why couldn't it have literally, he'd have been called up extra early or something like that? Any advantage I'm willing to take and to snap at, to be honest. But it is what it is. And that's how I think we've got to look at the next upcoming fixtures. We've of course got Sunderland away a week tomorrow in the FA Cup. That'll be a massive, huge game for both sets of supporters. This game coming up against Liverpool first and foremost, and then we've got the little matter of Manchester City and Aston Villa, two of the most certainly Villa by and large have had a fantastic season, and Manchester City, as I said a couple of weeks back, and as I said to the Nottingham Forest lads who came on prior to the matchup at St James's Park, they were on about who do you think is going to win the league, and I said, obviously, first of all, I said anybody but Arsenal, because you can't stand fucking Arteta. So that was funny as fuck what happened yesterday. But I did say don't count Manchester City out, because you just cannot. And funnily enough, by the time they come to play us, they're going to have Haaland back and possibly De Bruyne too. So happy days. It don't rain in the pause. And of course, it's absolutely pissing down at the moment. Shock horror. That's all it seems to do at the moment, doesn't it? Piss down or strong gales. So yeah, Newcastle's look at the end of the day is against us at the moment, but this will turn. Eddie Howe's been talking about that, and the fact that he's working every hour of the day to be able to turn it around. The fact that he's been able to get the players out in the training pitch for the first time in literally goodness knows how long. He's been talking about the fact they've just been playing games and recovering. It's put a real strain on things, haven't been able to work on certain set pieces, certain team shapes, team movement, things he's wanted to tweak here and there. Hasn't been able to do that because it's all been about recovering from injuries, recovering from games, seeing who's fit, seeing who's unavailable, so on and so forth. And that's been how it's been for the last couple of months. Now that is going to thankfully ease up after we get through the last couple of these festive fixture games. It will settle down with us now out of the League Cup, out of the Champions League, out of European competition. We can just focus upon hopefully an FA Cup run, and of course the Premier League. We need to finish as high up in the table as possible. Eddie Howe today talking about injuries. No real improvement in the situation. The likes of Harvey Barnes, still we don't know when he's going to be back. Willock, we still don't know. He's been such a miss since getting injured last May, hasn't he? He's played one or two games since then, but not much. Harvey Barnes, an innocuous, strange injury back in September, and still no fixed return date at the moment. Possibly sometime in the next couple of weeks, but I don't think we can take anything for granted at the moment with regards to the likes of Joe Willock and obviously Harvey Barnes as well. Jamal Lascelles, the skipper, he obviously missed last time out. He'll miss the Anfield game. He's probably going to miss the Sunderland game, which will be gutting for him, to be honest. Been here so long, deserved to be involved in amongst all of that. But yeah, you're looking at probably mid-January. It's not too serious, but from everything else that's been said, mid-January we're looking at before we'll see Jamal Lascelles back in the team. And the rest is just a waiting and watching and letting the weeks tick by. The likes of Jacob Murphy. Now, how could we use Jacob Murphy at the moment? He has been a miss, because without him there's literally no alternatives really. No Jacob Murphy, no Harvey Barnes, no rotation therefore for Miggy, and Miggy's form through fatigue, I don't know what it is, but it's literally just dropped off the edge of a cliff. He spoke about the fact that for this game, there may well be changes. You know, they said at the end of the day, what they've banked previously, all the good performances, the good feelings, everything else, it counts for little. It's the here and now, it's the present, it's what you're doing at this exact moment. And he said at the moment, it isn't good enough, and that's why he's working morning, noon and night to try and turn it around. But he hinted at the fact that there possibly could be changes in the lineup, you know, ready for Anfield. And I think that would be wise. I mean, I'd certainly be looking at maybe playing Joe Linton wide out on one of the flanks, say the left flank, to move Gordon over to the right to be able to rest Miggy. I think changes like that. Tino Livramento did nothing wrong, shouldn't have been dropped. You know, Eddie Howe's held his hands up and said he's looked at some of the decisions he's made. He's sort of gone back over things and tried to analyse himself where he's gone wrong, where he can do better, which is good to, you know, good things to be able to hear. I expect Tino Livramento to play. I think Kieran Trippier needs to be given a little bit of time off and away, back him off a little bit just so he gets back to basics and back to the sort of performances that we've come to expect of Kieran Trippier. Obviously, he's got his personal situation going on, which I won't delve into, but clearly that needs addressing, that needs sorting, and we need to get his head back on football and performances for Newcastle United. So fingers crossed that change is brought, because like I say, Livramento shouldn't have been dropped. If Trippier does start, Trippier one side, Livramento the other, then Byrne could well be one of the casualties that Eddie Howe was hinting at and suggesting at. Dan Byrne was absolutely terrible in that game, but I think we all knew that he was going to be in for a difficult day. Speed is the one thing that Dan Byrne struggles with the most, and we knew that they were a quick counter-attacking team with pace and abundance in certain positions. And yeah, Forest had him on toast, didn't they? Literally for the entire game. I wasn't surprised when he was hooked. So again, Livramento could come in on the left-hand side. Trippier could play if he's in the right sort of mind frame to be able to do so. If not, then Trippier may be rested, and Livramento may be given the right back berth to be able to, you know, go up against Liverpool. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, changes are needed, no doubt about it. Hopefully the Shea and Botman get the magic back. They've had that game to sort of get back up to a little bit of fitness. It does take a while. Once a player's been out for as long as Botman has, it does take a while. And Shea didn't have his best game, but Shea's been absolutely fucking fantastic for us. So again, you know, form is temporary, class is permanent, and let's hope he absolutely plays a blinder at Anfield. What I am looking forward to hopefully seeing is a little bit more of the Newcastle United shithousing that we haven't been seeing recently. And, you know, when he's touched upon training and stuff like that, I hope that's one of the subjects that has been covered. You know, the old dark arts and stuff like that. We're better to start going back to basics than at Anfield, than taking the piss a little bit. Yeah. That would be absolutely fantastic. So fingers crossed for a little bit of shithousery. I know we're sort of missing the major player in that when it comes to Jacob Murphy injured, but it would be great to be able to see Newcastle United taking the piss a bit. Transfers were discussed in today's press conference. Well, do you trust an Eddie Howe press conference? Let's face facts. That's first of all. He says nothing imminent, but he didn't deny when questioned and pressed about the Calvin Phillips stuff. He didn't put He didn't try and challenge the journalists, is probably the best way to put it, on Calvin Phillips. So I think, again, there's no smoke without fire. But he's talking about nothing imminently. Now, look, to me, everything should have been sorted for transfers prior to the window opening, so it was ready to go at the beginning. If you're going to pay £7.5 million for a loan fee for a player, let's get them in and get the maximum games out of them, as opposed to wait to the end of the month when we'll still have to pay it. But we're going to have him for less games, and by then you could be out of another competition. It could just be down to the Premier League and the race for Europe. So look, to me, get your players in nice and early, give them the maximum amount of games, bearing in mind that Phillips is going to take time to get up to speed. Eddie Howe touched upon the fact that he didn't possibly think that we needed the number 6 as an urgent position, that there were other alternatives within the squad. He talked a lot about the players who were already there, which, you know, is commendable. He will stick up to the players and for the players until the very, very last. He's a very loyal person, Eddie Howe. But for me, we need desperately a number 6 in there. We haven't had a proper number 6 for so long, a defensive midfielder, and that's going to allow Bruno to play further forward. It's going to be a fox around the edge of the box. That's where you want to see Bruno Guimaraes taking shots, putting in little passes like he did for the Lewis Miley goal recently. That's where you want him. That's where he's the most effective. That's where he can do his ply his trade to the best of his abilities. That's where he's most natural, around the edge of that box. And at the moment, we've had him playing, deep lying central role, which he said himself isn't a role he particularly enjoys doing. I don't think he excels in it as well as he does further up the pitch. Joe Linton, I think, is needed elsewhere at the moment, just because of the situation around Miggy. I think we've got to work on that. Anthony Gordon has looked fatigued, injured, tired recently, but again, we haven't got any options. We've got so much money FFP wise tied up in Tonali and Harvey Barnes, and it just hasn't worked so far, unfortunately, this season. Barnes will be back, Tonali will be back. They'll be both fantastic signings, but it isn't helping us in the here and now. It's not something that's going to be in the next couple of weeks even, and for Tonali, obviously, there's months yet before he's back, but we need a solution. We need it sooner rather than later. And I'd still be surprised if we didn't sign a goalkeeper, because Dubravka, again, he doesn't look anywhere near the player that he was when he was Newcastle United undisputed number one. Shall I come? Shall I not come? Shall I come then run back? It just doesn't have the presence for me anymore in between the sticks, and that's probably affecting the defensive stability that we were built on. Last season we were one of the best defences in the league, but Dubravka, 14 goals conceded so far, and the defence did him no favours against Forest. Let's make that absolutely clear. But again, he didn't do anything to particularly stand out for me, and I think goalkeeper, especially with the likes of David De Gea, Golden Glove without the club, it's absolutely and utterly bizarre. There are other options that are being linked to the Ukrainian goalkeeper at Madrid, loan deals or cheap knockoff, end of line type deals all over the place. They're trying to and act smartly, box clever, pay prudent prices, maybe pull stuff that they were going to do in the summer forward. I don't care what it takes, but I think it'll give the fans and the other players a huge lift. There can't be any place for sentiment in the squad. If it means we've got to, push one or two out the door who Eddie Howe would like to keep around, then that's what we need to do ultimately. But I'm sure the difficult, tough questions are being asked, are being broached. But to me, transfers, I was a little bit disappointed to hear that there was nothing sort of happening soon. Hopefully it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all part of the plan not to alert other clubs. Fingers crossed. But if it's true and we haven't got something pretty much lined up, ready to go, it's a bit bad for me, given the fact that we have struggled all season with a squad that's not balanced correctly, too many fullbacks, not enough strikers, etc. And the injuries. You put all of that in one. The ownership's talked about wanting to support Eddie, fully backing Eddie and the lads. Well, this would be a major tick. This would be another major tick. They've done so much. They've been absolutely fantastic. Make no mistake about it. But he really needs the help right now. It's a difficult situation, a difficult moment, and European football, the possibility of European football next season is slipping away. Don't get me wrong. I think when we get players back, I think when we're through this little bad run of fixtures, the schedule hasn't been kind to Newcastle United. I think we will turn it around. We will climb up. Look at Liverpool last season. They were doing shite for most of the season, but then they went on that huge run towards the latter part of the season, and they were literally within an ant's knob of getting Champions League ahead of us. So it's more than possible. We're more than capable of doing that. But, this season there are other teams up there who are playing good stuff. Your West Hams of the world going to Arsenal, beating Arsenal. Your Aston Villas. All these other teams, there's a great deal of competition, for those top few positions in the Premier League. So, it's not great. Still got lots of injuries. Nobody particularly back there or thereabouts. No transfers that's looking close to being signed off. As much as I think Eddie Howe would obviously love to have the likes of Calvin Phillips around the training ground. I don't think that's particularly close, sadly, either. And then we don't know about the other positions. To me, it's a no-brainer when you've got a free transfer goalkeeper out there. Yes, he might ask for a few quid in wages, but a short-term deal until we get Nick Pope and then, you know, assess our options again maybe in the summer, I think would be common sense and would be good. Let me know who you think we should be signing down below in the comments. Let me know as well what you think the score is going to be. I think it's going to be a difficult occasion for Newcastle United. What you want them to do is to put up a very brave fight. What you want them to do is to put a shift in. What you want them to do is fight and literally tooth and nail, blood, sweat and tears, you know, for the club, for the shirt, because against Nottingham Forest in the second half especially, I saw absolutely and utterly fuck all. It was awful. It really was that shocking. It was the worst game under Eddie Howe for absolute, you know, sure. But look, 100% behind the lads, 100% behind the management and the owners, 100% everybody rowing in the same direction, remaining united. Things will turn round the corner. This is just a bad moment. It is a speed bump. That is all that it is. But yeah, attack this game against Liverpool. Give it the all. And who knows, it would be the most Newcastle United thing ever, you know, after struggling after that performance against Nottingham Forest, to go out there and beat Liverpool. It just would be. That is just how things are done. But yeah, shithousen, back to basics. Like when Eddie Howe first came in, he tried to make it was really, really difficult to break down, to beat, and we were just there trying to close out space, block, put your bodies on the line, and protect the clean sheet, and, you know, try and leave with at least a point out of the game. That would be a major shot, a major boost. If we can go there, get a point against you know, Liverpool, progress in the cup, that would be a major boost, surely to the morale, certainly of the fans, to the players, and a reward for the staff for getting on the training pitch and you know, putting the hours in, putting the work in there. So yeah, let me know what you think the score will be. Transfers as well down below. What's the priority positions that you think that they need to be sorting in January? For me, we still need another centre forward, because 2 injury prone strikers isn't enough for the remainder of the season. It's a shame we can't call back Minter. It really is, because he's looking great. He's off to the African Cup of Nations actually. He's in the provisional squad anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes and everything. But yeah, let me know down below. It's a big one, isn't it? It's a big one. It's always normally a classic. It's 2 heavyweight names in, you know, the world of football, in the world of the Premier League. So yeah, let me know all that down below. Subscribe to Magpie 24/7. In the meantime, take care, keep it tuned. I want to finish and get home. Couple of days off now, thank fuck for that. Yes, subscribe, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.